Hey everyone, it's Harry Frankfurt, and Alcoholics Anonymous are a bunch of fucking assholes. First of all, both of my parents have used the Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program before, and they've gone to the meetings and they've tried to make that work for them. Neither of them have. My mother has avoided them at all costs because they make her depressed and want to drink. And my father has on multiple occasions attempted to make them work for him. He goes to them and then he literally leaves and goes to a bar and has a beer because he is so absolutely incredibly miserable about the shit that he hears in those fucking meetings that are supposed to keep you sober that he's like, fuck this, I need a drink. So from that perspective, let me just say that I have no reason to have any faith in the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings or the 12-step program. I have no reason to believe that it is good for anyone, and personally, I've never been to one. Thinking about it though, let's get a whole bunch of alcoholics into a room to talk about alcoholism and how they want to drink. Like, that does not sound healthy. That does not sound like a good idea. That does not sound like something that would keep anyone sober for any stretch of time. Look, personally, I do not think that getting a whole bunch of alcoholics into a room to talk about how much they love alcohol and how much of an alcoholic they are or any of those things, I do not think that those would aid in recovery. For myself, I don't think being in a room full of depressed people and talking about how we're recovering from depression and talking about how, we get the urge to do self-harming behaviors, I don't think that that would be healthy. I think that would be a constant reminder of things that we're thinking. I think that would be a constant trigger. It'd be a constant tap on the shoulder like, hey, don't forget, you've got this illness in your brain and sometimes you want to do things that you shouldn't. Hey, just reminding you. It sounds like a fucking bad idea. I have no reason to believe that the 12-step program or the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings are a good idea. So let me just tell you about this story. And for any of you who actually have been to an AA meeting, please let me know what it was like, because when I was younger, I would always be the kid who would want to go to kind of be that supportive, parent to their parents. And I've always wanted to kind of get involved in their sobriety and kind of help them. And my father and I think on one or two occasions have discussed it. And with my mum, I've tried to discuss it. But the point is, I personally have never been to an AA meeting, either for myself or for anyone else. I know you can probably go and witness, but I don't actually think that I want to after this experience, and certainly not after the experiences that my parents have had. But I was told that you can go as a family member of an alcoholic and discuss that. Let me just tell you what happened. Like I said, I always try to be the supportive family member that is helping their family through their sobriety. I always like to be there and ask, how is it going? Do you ever get the urge? I try, okay? Because I know what it's like with mental health. You need to have a backup plan, and you need to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. You need to have a million things to keep you going in times where you just feel like, fuck it, right? Me personally, when I get depressed, it takes a million things to keep me going, right? My contingency plan the other day, I was seeing my psychologist and I was trying to chicken out of it, and I was like, okay, after my psychologist, I will come home and get dressed to go to the gym because I know that the gym makes me feel happy. But I knew for a fact that if I came home, I would get lazy and I would just crash and go to sleep and be like, I'll go to the gym tomorrow, which would never happen. I'd keep pushing it off, and I can't do that. So I wore my gym clothes to my psychologist appointment to force me to go to the gym, right? That's what I'm talking about when I say contingency plans. And in my bullet journal, I have a page of things that make me happy, so that if I'm ever depressed, I can flip to that page and be like, oh, Twitch, okay, I'll just live stream. Or I'll watch a Twitch channel, or, I'll look up a new Shane video, or whatever the case may be. I always have something there so that if I feel like I'm slipping, I have a million backup plans. And that was what I was trying to do when I contacted Alcoholics Anonymous. I was helping someone out, and I was looking for drug and alcohol phone service counseling, phone counseling services. Because for me personally, I know that Beyond Blue exists. I know that there are a whole bunch of online options. I know that there are apps that you can get. I know that, I know things that exist that will help me in times of need. But for alcoholism, I'm really pretty clueless. So I Googled alcoholic phone counseling or something to that extent, and Alcoholics Anonymous had popped up. And obviously we all know Alcoholics Anonymous. Hi, my name is Kate and I'm an alcoholic. You stand up, you talk about it, whatever. And I was like, oh, actually, you know what? They're probably the most popular service for alcoholism in the community or whatever. So I thought that they would be my best bet. And I called the number I'm so fucking mad about this, even still. This was like over a week ago now, and I'm still mad about it. Whew. So this guy says, is it for you or is it for someone else? And I said, someone else. Do they know they have a problem? And I said, well, yeah, they were in hospital earlier this year because they needed to get sober, and like, they know they have a fucking problem. Like, it's very obvious, and they've said to me that they want to drink, and so they know they have a problem because they know that they have the urge to do it, and they know that they shouldn't, so they know they have a problem. His first question was, what meetings do they go to? And I said, they're not in the meetings, they don't go to meetings, they don't like them. And he goes, well, we don't get sober on our own, we have to get sober together. Now, let me just remind you guys, for those of you who don't know, Alcoholics Anonymous is a non-for-profit that is run by alcoholics. I'm sorry, if I ever wanted a company to look miserably sad and just bad in the public eye, I would hire a whole bunch of fucking alcoholics. If I ever wanted to send the wrong message, I would use an alcoholic to do it, right? Especially an alcoholic that has this belief, this faith in the product that they're selling. Because I understand that having a strong passion for what you're doing is great, and that definitely helps. But having blind faith is disgusting to anyone who is on the outside. Like, I honestly am so turned off by what happened next. Because this guy is like, we don't get sober alone, we get sober together. She needs to be in the meetings. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. I'm calling because I want to know if this is the number. The first thing I said to him was, is this the number for over the phone anonymous drug and alcohol counseling or alcohol counseling? And he said, is it for yourself or someone else? Someone else. Are they in the meetings? No. But if they are, does that mean they get over the phone counseling? And the only thing that he could say was, we don't get sober alone, we get sober together. We need to be doing the 12 steps. I'm like, we don't need to be doing the 12 steps. He's like, it's only gonna work. The only way you stay sober is with 12 steps. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like, I really don't. I have a very strong reason to believe that that's not true, but is this the number for alcohol phone counseling? And he said, where are you based? And I was like, Brisbane. And he said, well, you've called the Sydney number. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, fuckwit. I called the number that was on the fucking website for alcohol counseling phone services. And he would just not shut up about, here's the number for the Brisbane office so that you can get her into the 12 steps. And I'm like, if I call this number, is that going to work for over the phone counseling? And he said, no, we don't offer that service. I'm like, that's all you fucking needed. And then the last thing he said to me was, but she needs to be doing the 12-step program. She needs to be going to meetings, and you should go too, because obviously you don't know much about alcoholism. What don't I know? You son of a fucking bitch. I'm sorry. I don't... How the fuck are you, dweeby little fucking alcoholic dude on the phone in Sydney, gonna tell me that I don't know much about alcoholism? How the fuck are you, some fucking blind faith believer, going to tell me what I do and do not know about the logical world outside of your miserable fucking life? How the fuck am I, as a person who has had to deal with it for 24 fucking years, going to, after being told I don't know anything, how am I going to be like, in what world does a person hear those words? Like, I've had to put up with shit for 24 years regarding alcoholism, okay? And you're going to tell me that I know nothing about it, and now I'm supposed to turn around and be like, gee whiz, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Let me jump into one of those fucking meetings with the person I'm trying to help. No. I called to ask for alcohol phone counseling services. Somewhere that someone could call and anonymously say, I feel like drinking right now because such and such and such is going on in my life. And then I wanted them to be a counselor to be like, tell me more about the such and such going on in your life so that the individual in question could be like, yeah, you're right, I don't want to drink, I'm just fucking stressed out. I didn't call and ask for meetings. I didn't call and ask you to help me out with getting to know alcoholism a little bit better. I didn't call to say, hey, how does a person get sober? I said, I want a phone counseling service for an alcoholic. Obviously, they know they have a problem. Obviously, I'm only calling you for this purpose, and I don't need you to tell me to get this person into meetings, because that's not my fucking job. If they don't want to go to meetings, they don't have to go to meetings. It's the same with getting sober or going into fucking rehab in the first place. If you don't know you have a problem, you're not going to go and get that help. If you don't want to go to a fucking rehab facility, if you think you've got it under control in your own fucking home, then you're going to stay in your own fucking home. If a person doesn't want to go to meetings, they're not going to go. If they're not going, they probably don't want to. So you telling me to tell another person that they have to go to meetings when I'm only doing this out of the goodness of my fucking heart. I'm only calling around to find these fucking services for them because I'm going above and beyond what is even anticipated on my behalf. How the fuck am I supposed to just turn around and go to this, like imagine being that person who's like, okay, I have a craving, but that's okay, I'm just getting on with it. And then to have someone come to them and say, oh, you need to be in the 12-step program, especially coming from me, a non-alcoholic who's never been in the 12-step program, who's never been to an Alcoholics Anonymous program, who has never even, who has only heard bad things about the Alcoholics Anonymous program. That would entirely breach a person's trust, right? And if we know anything about trust, when you trust someone, you're more likely to listen to them. But as soon as a person says, hey, remember that thing you said you hated? And remember that thing that you don't like talking about because you don't like admitting you have a problem? Yeah, here's a fucking bomb in your life. And even beyond that, I don't understand what kind of manipulative, scheming, fucking miserable plan this guy thought that I would be able to come up with and just drag this person to a meeting. It's not. First of all, in Queensland, we only have 2 locations from what I could tell that even do the meetings, and both of which are on completely different sides of the city, which I'm in the middle of the fucking city, and there's no way you're gonna get me anywhere else because I don't have a fucking car, and alcoholics don't have fucking cars because they get fucking DUIs when they drive, even if they're sober. You know, the reason they get sober most of the time is because they've been fucking booked for some criminal activity. I need to stop. But fuck, I was so incredibly furious to be told by a complete stranger who is an alcoholic, who has a blind faith in the Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program and the meetings, for them to tell me, a person who has lived in the real world where real shit happens, where rehab visits and fucking seizures and fucking delirium tremens and fucking, all kinds of shit. I've seen it fucking all, okay? You cannot now, as a complete fucking stranger on the phone, while I'm in my darkest, scariest moment, okay, exaggeration, but I was in a very dark and scared moment at that time. That was the only reason I was calling Alcoholics Anonymous, and I called them with one specific fucking goal in mind, and I was told that I didn't know alcoholism. And that is absolutely abhorrent fucking behavior. Whoever is on the fucking phone line for Alcoholics Anonymous needs some kind of customer service training at the very fucking least. But if they could be a fucking counselor, that'd be primo, motherfucker. Honestly, I did another actually no, I didn't do another Google search. I called Beyond Blue because at this point I was crying, I was furious, I was scared because I'm thinking I might lose an individual in my life again. I'm scared because I'm beginning to realize that there are very few services available for alcoholics. I'm scared because I'm putting my fucking neck out on the line right now by even looking at these services for this individual. And I'm upset because I've literally just been told by a complete stranger what I do and do not know. I've been completely disrespected. I've been pushed off to the Brisbane team, who I didn't even call because I was like, it's not what I even want, okay? It is not what I want. I had one thing in mind and I didn't get it. I got abused over the phone. I very legitimately got, okay. I'm so incredibly offended by that person on the phone who sounded fucking miserable. He was telling me that he was on the night shift. Like, I'm not gonna feel sorry for you. I'm not gonna feel sorry for you. I do not feel sorry for you. You're an alcoholic. I'm not saying that no alcoholics deserve pity. There are obviously some sad life situations that get a person into that position in their life, but how dare you then use the fact that you're on night shift and use the fact that you're in a different state so you don't know anything, and then tell me that I don't know anything. Like, I couldn't. So the point of the fucking story is, if you ever need drug and alcohol counseling over the phone anonymously, I will leave numbers below, because I know that for me, when I was getting bullied in primary school, I would call the kids helpline, and I know that when one of my friends passed away of suicide, I used Beyond Blue, and I know that if I was in a point where I felt the pressure and the desire to do something like that, I would call anonymously. If I couldn't see my counselor or psychologist, or if I didn't even have a counselor or psychologist, and I know this person refuses to seek help in that way because of pride, and I know that they refuse to go to meetings because of pride, and so I thought the best service for this individual is over the phone, anonymous counseling. And I know that there is definitely a place for it, so for those of you who do want to know more about it, I will leave links and phone numbers below. Obviously this is Australia, there ain't much for us here, but that was my absolutely disgusting conversation with Alcoholics Anonymous. Needless to say, I will never be using their services. I will never recommend them to anyone. I honestly was disgusted by that interaction, and if Alcoholics Anonymous wants to do something about their fucking phone people, then go for it. But don't expect me to jump on the fucking bandwagon anytime soon. And for those of you who are new here, make sure you subscribe, because I do story times like this. I do much less dramatic and sad story times normally, and I do have some more story times coming. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click the box that says story times and rants, and you guys will see me in the next one. So yeah, bye. Oh, my butt hurts.